What's going on, everybody? This is Nerds of the Round Guest Host Edition. I'm Antonio from across the hall. With us today is Sebastian as a panelist, and from Dirty Jersey, we got Alex.
No. Let's get this straight. I'm from Queens. My shit's in Jersey.
Boy, you live in Jersey. You take the Port Authority.
No one actually lives.
We are driving you to 42nd and 8th, and you're getting on one of those shitty buses, and you're gonna go to Jersey. You're from Jersey.
I'm not from
Staten Island.
Oh yeah, this is not. Shit, no, I'd rather be from Jersey than there. Let's just say Jersey is the fifth borough.
There you go.
Yeah, that is the real fifth
that's
borough.
Florida, technically.
Technically, yeah. It's actually, yeah.
Florida.
Yeah, Staten Island's the landfill, right? There we go.
But we might give it Florida. I don't know. Trade it for Jersey.
So the reason why we have a guest host today is because we are going to be talking about comics, comic conventions, comic drawing with both of these two fellows have participated in. What got you guys into comics?
Nerdy stuff. What was it? There you go. Cartoons, X-Men, all that.
So for me, like cartoons, but trading cards.
Oh,
What kind of trading cards?
The Marvel trading cards.
did you ever get the ones that you had to put together? They were like a whole like poster.
But that was later. Like I'm talking about like first generation ones. You know, the local shop in my neighborhood, Big Bang Books. You know, rest in peace.
In Queens.
Yeah, in Astoria. It was like, you know, my friends were collecting the cards. I was like, okay, these things are cool. Who's this Captain America guy? Wait, I remember seeing this cartoon. You know, back in the '80s, when they had like the old bit of cartoons. But like, I was like, oh shit, this is so cool. These things are awesome. These are great stories, great artwork, and it's like I would sit there drawing the covers and stuff. You know, it's when I got my first issue of Guardians of the Galaxy because I was one of the few people who fucking read that goddamn book.
See, man, I hear about that.
Oh yeah.
I think mine was Mohegan Comics. Just happened to be when I used to live off of Bronx Park South, and it so happened that this comic shop had opened up on Mohegan Avenue, hence Mohegan Comics. And I got to know the owner, and I remember again, I think it's the same thing. Got into cards, Marvel cards. At the time, they had the cards that you would get. And it was like a puzzle that you put together. You got the whole 9 set of that particular piece, and you put it together.
They had the hologram cards too, right?
Yeah, they had the hologram versions. And I remember he gave me all the cards. I had like the whole set.
Yeah.
So someone stole them. Got pissed.
Sorry about that, man. I have a whole set.
Yeah.
Who's you?
It wasn't fun being a nerd back then.
No. We had it rough.
Like they said, they stole my cards, and I was
You
so
got
pissed
made
about
fun of.
I got my Wolverine hologram card ripped in half. By some bully.
That's the worst.
I found my first Cyber Force issue because someone took it, wrapped it like this, and stuffed it in by this door at one of the Papaya Kings.
Oh shit.
And it was the first issue. I was like, fuck, someone fucked up. But you know what? I got a comic I could go read now.
My grandma used my Deathlock #1 as like a rest for her iron.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm hurting right there.
Yeah,
I'm hurting.
It's been the feels, yeah.
The action figures was another one too.
Oh.
That got me into comics.
Yeah.
action figures, TV shows. That was kind of what
Basically, the '80s got into the comics.
Yeah, like the '90s kids cartoons really got me into it. Like getting a
X-Men.
Fox, like like that was that, and Spider-Man, all the Batman the animated series.
Do you remember the Iron Man cartoon?
Iron Man, that was a good cartoon.
That was Iron Man, the Hulk, Fantastic Four. They had those.
Yeah, they had, so I think the lineup was always like Superman. We had Batman. X-Men was usually really early. Spider-Man was early. Iron Man, I think, was like around 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Then you had Beast Wars thrown in there, although it's not superheroes.
I didn't get into that one. Like, for me, the Transformers was the '80s. You know, the CGI look was too early, and like they're animals. They're not supposed to be animals. They're fucking cars. And
See, it was the opposite. My dad and my uncle were into Transformers, and then I got into Beast Wars because I was growing up in the '90s, and that was like I love the old Transformers.
It took me a while to get.
I think it's like a generation thing too. It's like
it definitely is because I remember when I was coming up, and like Power Rangers was coming out. I was like at that age where everyone younger than me was into Power Rangers, but the people my age and older were like, "What is bullshit?"
Yeah.
You know. But I also grew up with like these Korean kids who showed me like the Korean version of Power Rangers, like the Freshmen. So I was like, "Wait, this is just a rehash of what the fuck they're doing overseas." And I was like, "Okay." Instantly, it lost something for me because it's an import. It's not something that was made by people. It was like something just took it off a shelf and just changed it up. And it's like here.
It's like Gatchaman. Gatchaman.
Yeah, exactly.
Was originally in the States. They called it G-Force.
Yeah.
And they watered it down. But then when you saw the Japanese version, you're like, oh my God.
My dad picked up Dragon Ball Z way before it hit the States.
Yeah.
So I was watching Dragon Ball Z subtitles when I was like in kindergarten, first grade. I'm like doing Kamehamehas in the schoolyard. Kids not knowing what the hell I'm doing, but people were into it. And then I fell off the wagon, you know, because I'm not buying anything. My dad is. And then all of a sudden, it's like 6th grade or something. Everyone's into DBZ. I'm like, I've been watching this since I was a kid. I learned how to read because of subtitles from anime. So. Yeah, no, it's just
Your dad was doing it right.
Yeah, it's ingrained in you. It's just ingrained. It's just a part of you. Like even with my kid, I know they did Dragon Ball Super and they did this one thing where Goku jumps over the beam and uses his Kamehameha and hits the guy. And I'm watching with my son. My son has no idea what's going on, but he's laughing his ass off. Yeah. And I'm having goosebumps watching this because I'm like, yo, it's Dragon Ball Z. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's just I don't know. And like he recognizes all the superhero characters. It's just.
That's cool.
You're doing it right. So what's it like to work at a convention for those who just go to attend or to buy product and stuff?
If you've been to a con as an attendee, it is definitely a different experience having been behind the table.
Yes.
Because after doing this for it's been 6 years now.
You got 3 more years above me. Yeah, about to be 3 years.
My old age and shit. Yeah. So I've been going to New York Comic Con since year 2 or 3.
Before it was big.
Yeah, before it was cool. It
used to be the Anime Festival.
It was separate. There was Anime Festival and New York City Comic Con. Then they merged it, and now they swept anime under the rug. But so I've been going to them for a while, and then behind the table for a few years, and then recently, I know I ran into you at Big Apple Con. It was as an attendee, I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here.
I think that was my third convention that I did, and you had stopped over there, and I was like, it was still new to me, the experience of going to different conventions. Now this is our 3rd year, going to be our 3rd year. We started in Beyond, and then we just meeting different people, different heads. You meet the people who you want to work with. I feel to me, a lot of the cons that are ran by creators have been very successful and very fun for us because they're creators. They're on the floor just like you are at different conventions. I mean, it's like Pete. He's now starting to do his own show, Comic BarCon, which is now becoming more for indie artists because he's an indie artist.
It's funny if you bring that up too, because there's comic shows and then there's comic shows.
The autograph shows. Let's call them what they are. The autograph shows. The celebrity autograph shows.
For a lot of people who aren't into it, there's the running gag is it's surprising to find people into comics at comic conventions now. It's a really weird thing because everyone's into the autographs. We're not gonna name names.
So do you think the majority of people who go to these things now are just looking for the bigger ones, those big crowds?
Yes and no. Because there's some shows that are still comic book shows because they're made by, like you said, creators or fans, and you won't see that many big celebrities. Maybe you'll see I'm not gonna say has-beens, but they're people who were famous for something they did years ago, or they're more not big listers, so they're more humble, they're more open, they can talk to people, and then you're gonna get fans. People actually appreciate that. With creators. Those are the shows that we really do good at because they're here to see artists. I grew up with this. It's slight nostalgia, but I want to see the creative aspect of comics or pop culture. But then you have the big celebrity shows, which are fine in their own rights. I mean, I've gone to a couple of them. I've bought autographs. My wife and I, we're nerds. That's cool. If I'm gonna see Chris Evans at a show, I'm like, fuck yeah. I'll or Chris Judge. Well, he's coming up now, so that's good. But that's a different audience that you get from an East Coast Comic Con where it's comics. You're gonna have Jim Starlin, you're gonna have Serenko, even a Neil Adams at a East Coast Comic Con, whereas maybe some of the Wizard Worlds, New York Comic Cons, your Reed Pop shows, they're gonna have the celebrities. Not to say they don't have comic book stuff, but the attendees are going there for a different reason. It's more pop culture.
I like when there's a good balance though too with the crowd, because sometimes too the crowd makes or breaks the show. I feel in some ways you do have your shows that run away where it's just the celebrities.
Yeah.
And this is not to take away from those, because they're out there making their bread too.
Yeah.
So I think it's really dependent on the crowd you get and all that.
Yeah.
And on what people are really there for. But you have some shows that they'll push the artists back, and then they'll push the celebrities forward. But it's how did your show start? How can you market this as a comic book show? That's why, again, I try to find shows that you get an even balance. I'm not going to take away from the celebrities. I'm not going to take away from the artists. I'm we're all there to do what we're there to do.
Well, there was a show like that where I learned my pro tip that I give to a lot of people. Because I always get people asking hey, if I'm trying to break in, what do I do? How do I do this? You know, when we first started, when Mark and I, we were Raven, first started doing shows, we did one show, I'm not going to name the name, but it was more of a celebrity-oriented show. And we're trying to, and at that point, we had all of our own original comics. Had Damn Heroes, we had all of our line of comics. We didn't have any prints, any t-shirts, none of that stuff. We weren't doing well on that show. Because, for one, people came up to our booth, they're like, well, I spent $80 at the door, spent $100 on like an autograph pass. I'm broke. You know, your stuff looks cool. I don't know what the hell it is. I'm not taking the risk.
Yeah.
But we were talking to an established artist. Now he was talking about how he used to do all of his own original stuff and he wasn't making anything. But now that he sells like Joker prints, Walking Dead stuff, Star Trek stuff, he's able to pay for his table. And he got to the point where he was doing less and less original stuff, more and more prints.
Which I think is a double-edged sword because like, you get a lot of people that you speak at cons. Like, I would like to do a lot of my own original characters. Mm-hmm. I feel like I know people who've been able to do that because they've established their name and people want that. They have a fan base. But when you get a lot of new people that see your stuff, they're afraid to take that risk, especially shows like that they're charging you X, Y, and Z amount. I feel one of the shows that people don't really care where they spend money at is New York City Comic Con, or like San Diego, because people are going to spend.
Well, I'll start to say something about San Diego. When we went there one year, so we're not exactly experts in that, but we did better on prints and recognize things and original stuff because of that. That's more of a pop culture con. But New York Comic Con still, especially where we are, small press, there's still people there for comics. They're like, especially like. Since we have a children's book, that blows everything away because people are coming there on Sunday with their kids. They're like, you know what, I like this Deadpool thing you did, it caught my eye, but you know what, what's this original book you did? Oh, you got something for my kid too? Okay, great, this is good.
I know people that have dropped maybe like $3,000 to like $4,000 in New York City Comic Con, which is like crazy because you get the toys, you get people, the merch and all that. I do try to take the opportunity to do other stuff because it's also a networking event, doing shows. Yeah. It's like we met each other through networking.
Yeah, actually.
But I think that's my advice. Like, you know, with doing these shows, if it's a crap show that you find yourself at, you're not making any money, turn it around and go network. That's it.
And it's funny, that same show, our worst show, best after con experience we've ever had. We were in some place with really good food and good beer, but we also got to meet some really cool people. In fact, you know, because of that show, we met somebody who did the cover for 2 of our books. You know, and I met people that I still hang out with. I've got their artwork up on my wall now. You know, really cool people. So yeah, like you were saying, turn it around.
Do you think someone who wants to get into this, networking is a key skill to learn to have?
For not even just
for everything. Obviously, no, I know it's for everything. I know it's for everything.
Well,
but coming into comics, you deal with a lot of people, and I'm not sure, maybe creators are different, but you deal with a lot of people who may be introverted, who don't want to communicate, things like that. Like, so I would say if you're into that, you definitely need to know to network. So I want to know what your take on that is.
Well, so this is one of those cases where I've seen this happen. There's been many people who I've seen at shows. They're just basically like this, behind the table.
Oh, yeah.
Like the artist.
Yeah, like artists. He's sitting there on his phone. He's sitting there like, why is nobody buying? And meanwhile, Mark and I, we're sitting there, we're actually standing, talking to people, engaging, having conversations. We might not make a sale from a conversation, but you know what? That person comes by and talks to us. And I bring up Mark, my partner, because we're kind of both introverted. We're nerds. I'm probably more introverted than him, but if you're an introvert, if you don't feel comfortable talking to somebody, get somebody at your table who can do that. You know, partner with them, pay them. You know, they could be your writer, your pitch person. Get someone at your table who can do that. If you're gonna go the table route. Now, there's some artists who can get away with that because their work just speaks for itself. They can just sit there, just give me money, buy my shit. But that's not everybody.
But even so, like we did a con, and I'll be honest, me and my wife, like I grew up, I was a shy background. I was introvert. I had to learn to talk to people because you know my day job is I do sales. My wife and herself, she doesn't really like to talk to people that much because she's But when it comes to doing a convention, we understand this is a business and we're in an environment that we want to thrive, and it's part of speaking to people. which is something you have to learn to do. And
Yeah.
going back over that story, we did see someone at a con next to our table, and I don't praise myself as a great artist. I'm like, you know what? I draw something. There you go. Oh, I was sitting next to this guy, his table. He had some stuff that blew my stuff out the water.
Yeah.
But like you said, this is what he was doing all day.
And this is at the con
This
that
is
you were
probably-
just
this
at.
was, this was sometime last year. He's like this, and I'm like, dude, you have people actually at your table that want to buy stuff. Talk to them. Me and Pete's across from us, we're bouncing back.
If you don't feel like a salesperson, fine. You don't have to pitch. Talk to people. Just say hello. Just a nice hello. What caught your eye? How's it going? Talk about your favorite nerdy thing. Like, you got a Game of Thrones print. Ask somebody if they've seen the last season. Do they think George R. R. Martin's ever gonna finish the damn series? Probably not. But you know, it's you'll get used to it. And again, after 3 years now, you've been doing this.
3 years.
You probably wouldn't recognize yourself when you started.
Oh
right?
no, like,
Yeah.
we it's funny, the transformation. I'm gonna tell people too, the first con I did, again, in Beyond Con, again, and thanks to Eric for that too, because he can advise this is why I like cons that are ran by creators, because they don't have to do that.
Yeah.
These people stop by giving you advice. The thing is, you take that advice, you run with it. I made $12 my first show.
Yeah.
That's nothing. But you know what? 3 years later, I'm still doing this. Why? It's that, and it goes back to what you said. When we first met, you and Mark were at that panel, Creative AfterCon. Again, this is why network is important. You guys were like, you know, if you're getting in this for money, don't. We did it because we love it. It's the love of it. It's like the fact that it's creative, and eventually, you know, we do want to have that creative freedom. We know that the fact it's going to be working hard. We've had to learn to adapt, and honestly, again, my wife doesn't talk so much. People, Jessie, who's the director and editor. Hi, Jessie. She was my best.
hates us right
But no, this is honestly, she was awesome. This was our first time at Great Philly. She was awesome at the table. Just right there talking to people. People were like, they loved her personality, and they were just like, and it wasn't that, you know, she was selling them something and pitching them. She was having a conversation, and then in the middle of a conversation, oh, this is my husband's stuff and all that. He does this book here, and they would buy. And I was like, I'm sitting there like this, like, shit, I'm gonna have to play catch up. She's outselling me. I'm the salesperson. But it goes key with networking, learning to speak to people, and just like, you know, if you're not comfortable, like how you said, get someone who is comfortable speaking with people.
Get your hype man.
Yeah, that's
Or
it.
woman.
Or woman.
There you go.
Your
There
hype
you go.
person.
Hype person.
Your hype person.
Like, every convention is not going to be a home run, but you want to turn it around. And again, networking is key.
Well, let's kind of dive into what some of the stuff you guys have been working on. So, like, what are the projects that you're working on? Original stuff, creations, anything?
I just been
Commissions?
doing a lot of fan art prints because
My Destiny print.
yeah, I know.
About to call you out on that, brother. That's called out. Since August.
It's there. I'm redoing my comic Dead Planet. Getting some advice from Eric Hutch, which is awesome. We're bouncing off a project off of each other that we're eventually going to get off the ground.
cool.
We're working on the script and everything. When that's fully ready to be released, we're going to just let everybody know.
So how would that work? So what
fucking know.
what responsibilities do you think, like, would you be like, how would the,
So again,
the
this
artistry
this is
I send you the
really,
script
really-
and you yell at me.
Yeah, he basically he said like, hey, what do you think of this?
You took Mark's position.
Yeah, basically, it stinks.
okay.
So no, it's like I've been like, he told me the story. I read the script. I'm like, okay, this sounds derivative. Maybe you change this around. Hey, you know what? Here's an actor. Use this person as like the focal point of that. Like as a reference. I think most of it was just like, this doesn't make sense to me. Explain this to me. Because like actually that's a problem. Like as some, I'm not by any means a pro writer, but having worked with writers and just written my own stuff, I realized sometimes you have an idea that makes sense in your head, but doesn't make sense when somebody else reads it. So that's something I've been able to pick up on. So when Sebastian sent me a script, I'm like, okay, explain why is this, what is this? And then he'll talk to me, I'm like, okay, maybe then you do this and that and that. So like right now it's really early stages. I just
It's very. That's why I say once everything is said and done, because the focus right now is to get Dead Planet back out there.
Yeah.
When you're working on a story, you see what you want to see.
Yeah.
And what you see makes sense only to you. But when you have that extra set of eyes, they're bringing their ideas to the table. you gotta be open to that too. If you're not, if you can't take criticism, then you need to get out.
Actually,
because
That's a life lesson.
I'm gonna give you something hard. Any idea you come up with sucks.
there you go.
Just say that.
There you go.
I remember when I was first getting into coding, because my day job I code, and I was looking into game programming. One of the things I read was your first 10 projects is gonna suck. It's gonna suck. Regardless of what you do, they're gonna suck. You got to get over that. And I've had artists tell me that too. It's like you're gonna suck. You're gonna fail. What makes you a success is how you deal with that.
And then again, we're just doing the fan art prints because preparing for different cons.
Oh yeah. Who the hell am I again? Oh yeah.
You're Alex.
Yes, I'm Alex.
From Dirty Jersey.
Dirty Jersey. Yeah,
Dirty Jersey.
This really fucks the explicit film.
It's okay.
So I'm 1/3 of Wayward Raven, and I'm the artist of Damn Heroes, a weekly webcomic about superheroes. My partner Mark, who's in Connecticut right now and couldn't come out this way, we collaborate a lot like that. That's actually kind of where I learned a lot of that stuff from. So Mark is the writer, Josh is one of our other writers too. I'm the artist. Yeah. So a lot of our process is for Damn Heroes. Since we do a weekly script, Mark would kind of jot down ideas, I jot down some ideas, we get together, we kind of hash them out, and we try to figure out what can make the other person laugh. But going back to that, there's sometimes Mark has this thing, he's like, it's a great idea, this is hilarious. I'm reading, I'm like, I don't get it. and after it's like, no, because you're stupid, you don't get, no, seriously, this doesn't make sense to me. I'm not getting the references, so, stuff like that we kind of hash out. I'm doing a weekly comic where I have to have it up every Wednesday. So I'm taking shortcuts. I'm really learning the creative process on a budget, on a time budget specifically. So we did one strip, well actually a series, where it was all word balloons and scribbles. And the joke was it was funny. I mean, it was the easiest thing I could do. I was banging them out every other day, and it helped me build a buffer that I've completely wasted since. But it's been fun, yeah.
You gotta read the strips. It's pretty funny.
It's funny, yeah. And you can buy it on our website, waywardraven.com.
Plug in.
To the plug mid.
You can't buy my plug yet.
You couldn't wait to the end. He's plugging now.
It's more memorable this way.
That's true.
Links down
They
below.
can't skip it, right? That's how it is.
They can't.
It just came out of nowhere.
It's just like, wait, what? Buy.
Wait, we should just have some sort of thing just pop up. Buy it right now.
Buy my shit.
Which is something actually going back to cons we both said
Yes.
many times.
Just have a frame, real quick. Buy my shit.
There was one Boston Comic Con where I lost my voice. So I actually was writing signs like Wile E. Cody. I was just like, hey, I lost my voice. Please come talk to me, or come buy my shit.
Did it work?
No,
It was fun.
at the last convention, there was a con. I'm working with Pete, and Buzz is sitting across, and he had Buzz laughing because he goes, "Yes, we have the con essentials." He puts out, I think cologne and then deodorant. You have this, and then you have this because they even have signs at conventions that says, "Wash
your
yourself."
ass.
Yes.